Well, thank you. I'm thrilled that you're all here. So many of the artists in the room. We're kicking off the Asian American History Month with this show. And this show is about brown palms, yellow palms, reinventing caregivers of color. Caregivers are the ones who open the newborn eyes and close the eyes of the dying. They're disproportionately women and people of color, and they deserve a voice. And here, 37 artists through 50 pieces are giving those women the voice that they deserve. We can start right here with this charming watercolor by Fatima Ronquillo, which illustrates the theme perfectly. Fatima's a self-taught artist I discovered in Santa Fe, and this is her Bay Area debut. Brown palms and the healing balms of flowers. So as the work started coming in, as the submissions started coming in, I started thinking, how can I organize this show? And I thought of the Buddhist practice of loving kindness, metta. Who's familiar with metta? That's the loving kindness. Oh, that's great. So what you do with metta is you start by blessing yourself. May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live in peace. And then in ever-widening circles, you bless everyone around you. You start with yourself, then your family, then your community, then your larger environment, then people you don't like. We have a lot of those. And then we send blessings even larger to animals, to creatures, to the environment, to the solar system. So I loosely organized this show around the concentric circles of loving kindness. So we'll start here. We start with the body and with the breast. With the breast, with the nipple, it's the first source of human care and comfort. And this is Viana and Melanie, who is one of the most famous Thai artists, and this is her breast stupas. And speaking more of the body, is Akiko here yet? No, Akiko's not here yet. This is Akiko Suzuki's wonderful fabric pieces called Scarred Persons. And it's about how our body gets scars as we grow older. Scars of childhood, scars of trauma. But she turned these scars into beautiful, beautiful objects. Speaking more of the body, we have here Angela Chu's self-portrait. Is Angela here yet? There's Angela. And, Angela notices that 1 in 8 mothers suffers from postpartum depression. And Asian women are 80 or 90% more prone to suicidal thoughts than others. And so this painting helps to normalize, the emotional traumas of motherhood as well. I'm going to take you all around and you get dizzy, which is good. So here you're going to hear about Liza Bacani, who is a second-generation domestic worker turned prize-winning photographer and artist. And here she's made a quilt out of the uniforms and photos of her caregivers. And she invites you to actually get under the quilt and feel the warmth, but also feel the hard floor under, representing their hardships. Moving from body to family, we have Julia La Chica. Who's Julia?
Right here.
Over here. Julia La Chica, and please take time to talk to Julia because there's so many stories embedded in this altar of her mother, the grief that her mother has gone through with her son, pilots. And her stories are personal, but they're interwoven with APICC histories, World War II, all of that trauma. And it's an interactive altar. You can burn some spirit, not burn, but offer some spirit money. So it'll be interactive. And if you turn around, you will notice over here, you have textiles as biography. Starting with there's Derry. Derry made these obelisks out of the clothes of her mother when she was grieving. 1,000 hours, a year. And you have this towering monument to her mother. And using a similar medium, Diana Lee, who's not yet here, made clothes of her father. So you have the clothes of the mother and the clothes of the father. And she felt that his sweat is still there, his hard sweat is still there. And she turned it into this beanbag that she can cuddle with, bio. Lydia de Garoa, these are called fragmented worlds, and it's made from the bark of healing plants. They're worlds of healing plants, and you see the eyes of the Asian caregivers living through this fragmented world. You'll notice that eyes is a theme. There's one in Fatimas, there's some here. There's some in Cynthia Alberto who created this triptych, which is a talisman, and it's interwoven in the fabric is her hair that she cut before her chemotherapy, and hair donated by her community. Because hair is one of those talismanic objects. So this turns into a talisman of survival and healing. In the corner, we have Jinjin Yu's lifeblood, speaking of the blood coursing through not only our veins, but through the environment. Beside her is Reiko. Where is Reiko? Reiko is one of the original artists of AAWAA. Yes, Reiko. And how would you like to have a friend like Reiko, who when her BFF was ill, she handmade all of this get well? So this is caring for friends. Wouldn't you love to have a friend like Reiko? I'm going to come back to that. What I want to lead you through is after the body and the family, we have here, again, the body by Curator O.M. This is a Filipino fertility symbol, the linglingo. And it's usually small like this. And what Jericho has done is make it into these large fertility symbols that double as sex toys. So it adds a nice, playful narrative, story to the narrative. So moving from the body, the family, we move on to the community. And here we have Jennifer Ward's marvelous portraits of Viana and who founded the first ever Filipino women's club in the U.S. in Watsonville to care for new Filipino immigrants. So here she is, and here she is as her debut and as a nurse. Other sort of community leaders are Susan, Sonia, Sonia's here. Hello, Sonia. And please talk to these artists more. Sonia has embroidered some of the sheroes of Philippine culture here, including the QR code biography of all of these artists. Now, I have this thing about things. It's called thing theory. I love objects and their roles as tools for caregivers. You know, the transitional objects in the psyche. So this whole section is about objects and caregiving, starting with Sarah. Invites you to interact with. This is an interactive book that conveys warmth and feeling. So other objects in the corner, Michelle Hurst turns the COVID detritus, the masks, the bandages of that horrible time into a beautiful weaves, showing that we can get beauty out of pain. Beside her, I printed out Science's photo essay in the Balikbayan box. For those who don't know what the Balikbayan box is, it's this Filipino ritual. It's a box that big that immigrants here fill up with American goods, you know, canned goods, towels, soap, cosmetics, and then they ship it back home so that the people back home get an experience of living in the U.S. So it's transnational caregiving. And Marielle Pod, has Marielle arrived? So she's coming. Takes it one step further and turns these boxes into canvases. And this is her mother nurse and her sister nurse. In fact, there are quite a lot of nurses here. Deb's mother is a nurse. Terry Asiago over there is a nurse. Are there any nurses in the room? Okay, I can have a heart attack. Okay, good. This is my own work, and it happened when I visited my friends Mary Lou and Malu, and I saw them caring for these clothes that had memories. And to me, it symbolizes our caring for our younger selves, our caring for our own memories. In this time when Alzheimer's is so prevalent, it's so important for us to care for our own memories. and it's poignant. So moving on, we have this masterpiece by my Malate girl, Johanna Mole, who teams up with her own caregiver, family caregiver, Annie Caliamo. And here you can browse through the 103-page, handwritten memoir of Annie and find out her story, and you can listen to it here. And all of us, I'm sure, have grown up with some caregivers that we love and can't forget. And can you just feel it here? Can you just feel it in the homage that Johanna has done for Annie? It's just, Malate girl is beautiful. So let's turn here to me. There's an AWA show which is not complete without a mandala by Nancy Hong, one of the earliest artists of AWA. And while I'm at it, I would like to acknowledge the presence of one of the founders of AWA, Lenore Chinn. Lenore?
I'm right behind you.
Lenore! I mean, we stand on the shoulders of these women that before it became fashionable decades ago, created this space for Asian American women. So in Nancy's mandala, this is not only about this conveys healing. They have Reiki symbols over here with the brown palms, you have poetry, you have artwork, and it's designed to send healing vibes to everybody in this room. And that is continued by this section that I'm calling moving into spirit and psyche. In the corner, we have Cynthia Tong's surreal meditation, on cultivation of stillness. Beside it, we have Eve's sculpture in the shape of a rosary, which are risographs of her maternal line, her mothers and older sisters, in the form of a rosary, a chain of blessing. And it echoes Ngan Bu's portrait beside it, called Full of Grace. Very poetic over here. In the corner is the Queen of the West, Chiwa, who's my own personal goddess. And she's on the west wall, blessing us. Kiko's Nanai's jacket is a fabric altar, with, again, religious iconography, but also symbolizing the matriarchal line. And she intends to pass it down through generations, with each one adding to the story. Behind me is a small room, so we're not going to go in there. I invite you to go in one by one. I also don't want to spoil the surprise, because it's very dramatic when you walk in there. You really feel the presence. It's anchored by Alison Huma's 60-foot tapestry dedicated to her brother who passed. This is all about death and resurrection. This room very much like Easter. Across it, you'll see Deb Ferrana's double self-portrait of herself now and herself as she imagined herself in old age. And to me, they look like the two women grieving at the bottom of the cross. So I put them below Huma's portrait. We have Angela Han's Chinese goddesses, Jing Wei, managing the sea. And in the far corner, we have a generational bench where different generations are supposed to conceptually balance themselves. And if you're by yourself, you're going to tip and fall off. So please enjoy it, but don't sit. That's why we put it in the corner. But conceptually, it's a wonderful idea of balancing the generations. And finally, we have Misha's Flower Farm Feast. One thing I notice about about Asian gatherings, I don't see very much in Western, is when you have a gathering, different ages show up. You have the little children, the teenagers, the aunties. You have not only different ages, but different social class. You have the poor relatives, you have the new relatives from the barrios, you have the matriarch, and everybody sits at the table, and everybody's welcome, and everybody's equal. And that was the radical hospitality that was my approach to this show. You have young artists, you have established artists, you have first-timers, and you have art stars, but we're all at the same table celebrating the same thing. So you can go back here and turn around. You see Araya. Oh my God, you have to get this her name correct. is from Thailand. And this is a still from her movie Janwa, The Nothingness. And that table is actually a video screen where very disturbing images are projected. You see a dog, and it's a commentary on greed, human greed, and our hypocrisy, how we care for some pets, and in the projection you can see some animals cruelly butchered for food. So it brings up the question, who do we care for and why? Why do we choose to care for one and not the other? And so the environmental theme is moved to Pallavi Sharma's wonderful Dwelling in Liminality, which is a commentary on caste, culture, and social justice. And she can tell you a lot more about it, and please be sure to ask her. Behind it, you'll have Lisa Redondo, who, this is a first-time artist. And she has two pieces there, one on mulberry bark with lyrics of songs from Korea and Hawaii, and the other one on the bark of a eucalyptus tree talking about an encounter she had with a eucalyptus tree. In the middle, we have Salma Rastu's mycelium. She takes us underground. She thinks of mycelium as angels that weave together trees and stories. You know, this whole mushroom network that we have under. And beside, we have the mythical stories of Viana and Chinn, the three sisters with a snake, and separation anxiety. In the back, you will have Fumio Sumi's ink, which again talks about the concentric circles joining us all. And here we have Kimberly Artecha's Anito spirits. They're quiet now, but she's going to activate them in a few minutes. So prepare. If you can come back here, I'd love to show you a synchronicity that I could not have in my hand. See, as you go out, we hung Saiza Bakani's stupendous portrait of caregivers on their day off in a beauty contest. And no matter what they wear, they're always angels. You see that beautiful wings over there. And after we hung it, Jericho comes and brings us this, which is the manananggal from the same point of view, the two wings, you know. And this is about re-envisioning. She told me that this is about re-envisioning the manananggal as a trans woman. And that pattern, that binako pattern that you see, is usually there to ward off evil spirits, but here she's using them as protective covering to protect the manananggal and to re-envision her. Finally, we have Maya Palilio's double portrait of men playing the violin, and they're on a boat, which in Philippine iconography symbolizes the journey of the soul. And what I see that doing, because over there in the monitor where we're going to have the rest of the digital work, you will see a sound healing ritual done by Lisa Melnick. There's Lisa. And so that sound healing is literally, again, supposed to send sound vibrations through here to bless us all with healing, and this work amplifies that. This is an experiment. Let us know if it works. We're adding a digital extension of the exhibition. These are for artists whose work were too expensive to travel, for digital artists whose work is best shown digitally. And so let us know, be sure to see them. So that ends the tour, but I hope not the experience. Please take the time to take a look at the works, talk to the artist, maybe take home work and support Ava.
Can all the artists that are in the show raise their hands?
Can all the artists in the show raise their hand? Let's give them a big hand.
And can we give a round of applause for Fawn?
Finally, the MVP of the show, Melanie. Melanie did everything, and Diana before her. Is Angela here yet? Okay. And our volunteers, Madu and Fawn over there. Okay, and if you have any more questions, we invite the artists to sort of be near your work so people can ask you, and you can ask me because I've talked to all the artists. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Thank you, Rachel.
Great.
I love your art. I wish more